There's a kind of conversation that feels light when it's happening and heavy afterward. Not because the topic is serious, because of what it does to the room. If you've got the space to listen without rushing to decide what you think, I'd like to walk through something I've been noticing. No conclusions being handed out here, just a clean look at a pattern and what it tends to hide. Sometimes I'm in a public space where you hear people talk all day. Most of it is harmless. Quick updates, small talk, people filling time while they wait. But there's another kind of interaction that shows up, and it always has the same feel to it. Someone walks up, and before they even speak, you can tell they've already loaded the moment. Not with anger, with posture. They aren't bringing you something they're trying to understand. They're bringing you something they've already decided, and they want you to stand beside it. It happened the other day. A guy walked up and started going off about somebody else, how they do things, why it makes no sense, why it's wrong, why it's ridiculous. The details aren't even important. What mattered was the move. He wasn't asking me anything. He was building a case out loud, stacking little pieces of advice like they were bricks, then contradicting himself while he did it, then doubling down, then shifting the reason. And at some point, he hit me with a line I've heard 100 times. The kind of line that tries to borrow authority without having to carry any responsibility for it. Well, I don't know anything, but I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot. That line always stops me for a second. Not because experience doesn't matter. Experience can matter a lot. But I've noticed how easily people use experience as a pedestal, not as a way to help, as a way to speak downward. And the weird part was, I still wasn't even invested in whether he was right. I wasn't emotionally attached to the topic. I was watching what he was doing with his attention. Because what he brought me wasn't a problem he wanted solved. It was negativity he wanted placed somewhere else. So I kept it simple. I said to him, why don't you go ask him about it? No bite in it, no sarcasm, just direct. If you really think there's something here, go check, go learn. Or if you have something useful, go offer it in the right place. And he backed away immediately. He said, well, I'm not that kind of guy. And I remember pausing because it was almost too clean. Because you are that kind of guy. You're standing right here doing it. So I asked him plainly, then why are you talking to me about it? And right there, the whole thing showed itself. Because what he wanted wasn't clarity. What he wanted wasn't resolution. He wanted agreement. He wanted that little bond people create when two strangers point at a third person and share the same stance. That subtle hit of connection that comes from, yeah, I see it too. And this is something I've gotten stricter about in my own life. Not out of superiority, out of fatigue. The kind of connection doesn't do anything for me anymore. It just feels empty. It's the easiest way to try and feel close to someone without saying anything real, and almost every time it has the same ingredient underneath it. A quiet sense of being above someone. It doesn't always come out loud, but you can hear it. Well, I would never do that. Well, if it were me, how do they not see it? It's not movement. It's not growth. It's not even help. It's just a temporary way of feeling bigger. And the more I hear it, the more obvious the pattern becomes. A lot of that judgment isn't really about the person being talked about. It's about the person talking needing somewhere else to aim. Because it feels good to have an opinion. It feels good to have a critique. It feels good to be the one who sees it. That gives people a quick hit of control, a quick sense of order, a quick sense of identity. but it also steals something. Because all that energy, mental energy, emotional energy, gets spent outward. It gets spent on somebody else's behavior, somebody else's decisions, somebody else's life. And when your attention is locked outward like that, you don't have to turn it inward. You don't have to face what your own life is asking of you. That's what I think this is at the core. Self-avoidance. If your attention is locked in on your own discipline, you're not scanning other people for flaws all day. If your attention is locked in on your own character, you're not trying to feel tall by standing on someone else. But most people don't want that kind of scrutiny aimed back at them, because inward scrutiny becomes a mirror, and that mirror is demanding. Not cruel, demanding. It asks for responsibility. It asks for consistency. It asks for humility, and it asks for action. It asks you to stop narrating life and start living it. So instead, a lot of people export their judgment. They send it into the room. And that negativity isn't even the main issue. It's that it's effortless. There's no next step. There's no resolution. No movement. It's just commentary. And commentary like that changes the space it's spoken in. It drags everything downward, not because it's deep or real, because it's weight with no purpose. It's static thrown into the air and left there. And when I hear it, I don't even find myself thinking about the person being criticized. My attention goes straight to what the speaker is revealing about themselves. Not in a condemning way, but in a practical way. Because it tells me how they handle discomfort. It tells me what they do with their own insecurity. It tells me what kind of connection they reach for when nothing meaningful is available. And it tells me something else too. If you're comfortable speaking about people who aren't present, I can't assume you won't do it again. That's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition. So now, if judgment rises in me, even slightly, I don't let it live outward anymore. I turn it inward immediately. And I ask myself a different set of questions. What is this reaction pointing at in me? Why did this bother me? Where am I avoiding effort by spending my attention on someone else? That shift has mattered. Because anyone can judge. That's easy. Discernment is different. Discernment takes a reaction and turns it into something useful, something stable, something that protects your character instead of staining it. It doesn't need someone else's name. It doesn't need a target. It doesn't need a pedestal. It just needs honesty. So when someone tries to hand me that shallow kind of conversation now, I keep it clean. Either do something about it or leave it alone. Either go ask, go learn, go help, go speak directly, or move on. Because dragging someone who isn't there doesn't build anything. It gives you a temporary feeling of being above something. And then when the moment passes, you go right back to the same life you've been avoiding. So I don't argue with it anymore. I don't try to win the moment. I just take it back to the only place it can actually be useful. What do I avoid in my own life while judging someone else's?